Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
God damn it, now I'm hungry. I got the munchies, man. I want some popcorn and some candy. Gotta stop playing that shit, man, because it's making me hungry. How's everybody doing? Scarpad's domain on YouTube. Streaming here on my channel. Also going out to my main buddy out there, Dylan, going out to his channel, Dylan's Horror Show. How you doing, Dylan?
What up, dude?
Man, I want some popcorn, man. I had that thing going. I want some popcorn. And I'm hungry now.
I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah, I'm fucking hungry. So how you doing today, Dylan?
I'm good, bro. Just tired. Worked all day.
I hear.
Watching a little Bumblebee. Gotta watch The Fly 1 and 2 and get ready for.
Yeah, I gotta still do that myself, man. Dead City's coming on this weekend.
I know.
Walking Dead.
I know you're probably excited for that.
Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Still haven't watched that, but that makes me mad. So I'll wait on that one. And then we went to the movies this week and saw Flash. That's what we're here to talk about, and this will be in a little bit a spoiler review. So don't
Basically a spoiler review. It will be a spoiler review.
Yeah, we'll tell you. We'll say how we liked it, and then we'll go into the spoilers. But before we do any of that, I got a little bit of an unboxing to do. I got a shipment, this month's shipment in from Vinegar Syndrome, which I want to show off in a second. But first, here's the latest from NECA. This is the Phantom of the Opera color version of the Phantom. There he is. Look at that, with his coat and his heads and his hat. And there's the back of it. Kind of cool. Very cool. So the Phantom came in this week. And then I got Vinegar Syndrome. Vinegar Syndrome, I tell you, Dylan, we talk a lot about the movies coming out. And in fact, a lot of the stuff sucks now, especially from Shout Factory, where it used to be phenomenal. Now they're not even giving you slip covers. A lot of the stuff from Disney sucks. I was watching Films at Home, his review tonight of Avatar. I had ordered that on 4K. I'm probably going to be sending it back when I find out that the Avatar disc doesn't have the extended version, is missing a lot of the features that were on the Blu-ray. He compared it to the original Blu-ray set, and not great. I may hold off because I'm sure he'll put together those two movies in an ultimate set. But what we talk about is all these things are coming out now, and you pay $40 for them, and they suck. So Vinegar Syndrome is one of the few, along with a handful of other ones, that really put quality into their releases. And every month they have like a subscription service. I haven't done it, but last month I took advantage of it because I thought the movies that were coming out were worthy of the subscription. So I got them. And let's take a look. The top one is the Paul Verhoeven NC-17 version of Showgirls. Now, this comes in a nice box set.
Beast Master came in a box set.
N17. You open it up, it's magnetic. Like that, yeah. This is magnetic. Yeah.
Like Beast.
Same type of thing,
I didn't know they gave it a set like that.
And then you open it up and you got that, and then you got the inside. Now, when you take it out of the inside.
Is that movie any good, though?
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. We get into the second, and it has a slip. It's got a slip and a nice slip
with new artwork, not like the same.
New artwork, right? Oh, there's the back shot. Pretty nice.
I like that. And
then here's the disc. And man, it would take me an hour to read the features this has on it. So I think this box set was around $38, $39 I paid for it. It's unbelievable. Is the movie any good? it's a cult movie because it's kind of cheesy and dopey, but it's a fun. And of course, Elizabeth Berkley from Saved by the Bell gets naked in this book. Robert Davi's in this. You know who Robert Davi is?
Nope.
He's usually a bad guy in a lot of his movies. You know who he is.
Bro,
And you saw
Vinegar Syndrome needs to just start sending me some Blu-rays so I can review them on
you
my
could. You have to get a hold of them. They might. So that's Showgirls. That's a top one. But here are the other ones you get. This is I thought this looked cool. This is a big movie in Italy.
What
It's
up,
li-
Jeff?
it's
GT, Evan?
It's Lamberto Bava's La Casa con la Scala nel Demonio, which
Yup,
is
this is the one I want.
A Blade in the Dark. I hear good things about this movie.
I want.
Look at the
so
set
bad.
and look at this. The hand is
The way
stabbed.
it opens, yeah.
It opens up right in the corner here. And look at the review. Look at it shows.
Yeah. The hand bloody as fuck.
The hand. Now when you get into you take this
The
out.
hand, like, opened up.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that box set and I
Right
was
here.
like, I need that.
Yeah. Look at look at the book. This
I
is
actually wanted that more than Showgirls.
inside slipcover. Look at that. Ooh, shouldn't show that. And then you get, of course, the inside, and unbelievable. I'm not even going to read them, but Vinegar Syndrome, and this is about $40. There may be a little bit under. But look at the quality of that, and then you get another book. So a big book, or a small book, and of course the disc. But it's a phenomenal set, and it shows what Vinegar Syndrome can do that a lot of other ones aren't doing. I'll get that back there.
Yep, that's for sure.
Okay, then we have.
I'd say the only one that's doing sets like that, and there, I don't even know. I would say Second Sight.
We got
Arrow.
Night Screams.
And I still think Vinegar does the best.
There's the back of it. Inside you have your disc 4K. And this has got the theatrical, this has got the extended cuts in both in 4K. Unbelievable. The other one was Undefeatable with Cynthia Rothrock. Maybe move her. Once again in 4K. We got a ton of features on that. And this is just the monthly things they put out. And then we have the Boogeyman. Not really a fan of that cover, but because the Boogeyman's kind of a slasher. It's not too
Oh, you've
bad.
seen it?
Yes, I have seen it. It's pretty good. 4K. And once again. And finally, Villages of the Damned, 3 horror films from
That's another nice set.
Spain. Look at that.
I haven't seen like a regular slip. I think they had one. Night Screams was the only regular. All these are like hard cases.
That's what they're doing for a lot of these. This is 3 Spanish horror movies that are supposed to be pretty good.
Oh, that's probably why, because it's 3 movies.
And yeah, you get that. You get a nice.
Spanish, I mean, has some good stuff. So the fries, there's got to
Look at that.
be something.
Look at that cover.
That's fucking sweet.
And
Link, what up?
another cover, different cover inside. It tells you all the movies and all that you get on them. And you get a book. So, I mean, just unbelievable the work they put in Vinegar Syndrome. The movies themselves often are okay. I only buy the ones I think are going to be interesting. And I know if I don't like this, I can always send it off to Dylan, and he'll take a look at it.
No doubt.
So that's
I love
everything.
watching some raunchy shit.
Yeah, that's everything that came. Not necessarily raunchy. Everything that
You
came
know what
out.
I mean. You know what I mean. Some are raunchy.
Yeah, some are, yes. What's going on here? I mean, you should see how thick this inside cover for the movie is. Just,
I know. I've seen
and
them.
then just this
They
great
are the absolute
with
best.
the hand.
That's I was telling Tugan about that, and I was like, dude, I gotta get this. I still haven't gotten it, sadly, but I hope I can get that box set.
So let's say who is in the chat here. GT Comics, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Evan, of course. Station Evan, how you been? My man Two Gun. Pew pew pew. Kev is in the house. A little Entropy in Comics. And the man, the Chaos in Comics man, he was reviewing what we were going to be reviewing earlier. Missing Link is in the house. What's up, y'all? How you doing? Going on. So I guess what we're going to talk about is The Flash. I guess we'll just give our general opinions of it, and then we'll talk about it in depth a little bit more, so people who don't want to be spoiled, watch it after you see the movie. I'm going to say I guess I'll go first and then let Dylan go. I like the movie a lot. I love the movie. I mean, to me, this is the best Flash interpretation we've gotten, mainly due to the fact that it's a better directed movie and it's a better written movie than Justice League or a lot of the other ones. And I'm not a huge fan of Ezra Miller as the Flash. I always thought the casting was wrong. I still kind of think they could do better. But he's obviously this kind of quirky Flash we're getting that Ezra kind of fits into. And I think the story serves him because he's shown from the beginning of this movie is he's almost like the errand boy of the Justice League. Whenever there's mop-up duty that needs to be done, Bruce Wayne or somebody's calling to do mop-up duty. So for that, it fits. And then his character does, I think, grow throughout the movie, throughout everything that happens. He's playing off himself in this movie. So he's basically seeing the flaws in himself and pointing those out. There's even a line in the movie where he's talking to him about maybe you should get mental health evaluation, which is kind of funny with everything that's going on with Ezra Miller. I think they kind of threw that in for a laugh. But it's a solid movie. It has a lot of that nostalgia with the Batmans in it and the Supermans, and we can go into some of that in the spoiler. But overall, I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I love the music, the direction, and it's much better than most of the output of the DCEU, which I enjoy, and I also think it's the best versions of Batman we got in a long time. So, Dylan, what do you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was really good. First thing that Andy Muschietti's done since Horror, which, if you know who the director is, he did Mama with Jessica Chastain, and then most famously known for It Chapter 1 and 2,
Right.
the most recent ones, obviously. And I think this was proven that he can do more than just horror, and I think he did a damn good job. And I think it's one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen. Like comic book, you know what I mean? Like not just like a Marvel movie that takes like inspiration from the
Batman movies, yeah, they kind of and the X-Men movies, they all wanted them kind of grounded in reality a little bit, so they don't go over the top. And this one did go over the top.
Yeah, it felt like a comic book movie, and I really enjoyed that. I'd say the intro of this movie was absolutely one of my favorite things.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
It just feeling like a Justice League animated episode, like mission type thing, with like the Flash and Batman kind of like not going on a mission, but having a crime to solve, like in the midst of just their regular day life. I just thought it felt like a straight up Justice League animated episode, and I just loved how it felt. It just felt different than anything else.
Yeah,
I've
the
ever
scenes
seen.
where Batman's chasing the bad guys is very like animated series level.
Yeah,
You
and just
know,
the way he's talking too, like to
right?
Flash. I just thought it was really fun. Like at first, I told my brother Evan because I was like, "What do you give it?" He's like 4 or 5. I was like, "I think I'll go with 4." And then I just kept sitting there thinking and thinking. I was like, "Actually, 4.25." And then he was like, then I just kept going up and up, and like the more I sat on it, the more I kept liking it more and more. And then I read some things, and then like the director might mention a couple things that kind of make sense a little bit more, something you might have been confused about, or why they did something the way they did it. And I was like, I like it even more. Like I can't wait to watch it again. It's a really fun theater experience, I think. Um, I've been waiting for this movie for years now. Straight
Yeah,
up
the
years.
director. This was a pretty tight movie. It flowed. It didn't have a lot of standstill.
No,
Like
yeah,
when
not
he
at all.
there's not like when he goes back in
They
the
really get
past.
right into it.
Yeah, the first time he goes into the past. There's no talk about doing it. He's just there. He
Yeah.
runs there and he's there, and they get right into it. And it's not. There's no long drawn out
And then I
sequences in
mean,
this
even
movie.
then, it's like they get right into it. Like I said, like the intro part with that felt like a Justice League
So
anime.
what's you say 4.5 or 4.5?
Well, no, I figure we do that at the
Oh,
end.
okay.
But I'll give right now. I give it a highly recommend. Go seeing this in your
Yeah.
theater. Um, yeah, definitely,
Well, we
definitely,
start out.
definitely. If you're a DC fan, if you're a Flash fan, I mean, go support it, man. This is the first time the Flash has gotten a big screen release. It's like, go support it and show them that fucking DC might be on the come up, and
Yeah, I think it just shows
Marvel
that
might
if you
be
get a
on
good
their
director and a good writer,
yeah.
you're going
It's
to do
DC
well.
has different stories to tell, and I think that they really have a shot to do something bigger and better than Marvel if they do it in a different way and not just try to copy Marvel. Because they genuinely, I've always thought DC has better stories, and I've always thought, I mean, they got Batman, so to me, Batman beats everybody. So I've always thought they have somewhat better characters in a way, but I do love like Spider Man, like the Hulk and Thor and shit. But I just think there's a little bit more they can maybe do if they do it the right way. And I
Yeah.
think James Gunn is actually the perfect guy to lead it off. And I'm super hype for Aquaman 2 to come out. And then,
Mhm.
you know,
Well, let's talk about the opening. So the big,
with Blue Beetle. And then, just I
yeah.
can't wait for Gunn's Superman. I'm not a big Superman guy, but I'm really excited to see what he does with that.
So you mentioned the
Yeah,
opening.
bro. John, I
What?
wouldn't say that this had like honestly, John, like this is absolutely nothing like Snyder's. The
Yeah,
only thing you can say
totally different
is
vibe.
just literally they almost make fun of the Snyder verse in a way, like the version of Flash. This is the only way I could do it. They base like the grown-up Barry is basically making fun of the Snyderverse Flash version. That's more goofy and comicky. I'm sure there's other things you're not a fan of with the Snyderverse, but
Right.
I do enjoy some of those movies. I don't hate it at all, but I understand how some people don't
Well,
love it,
at the
and
end we'll
there
talk
are
about
people who go fucking nuts for it.
we'll talk
But I think
about the
this is
whole
definitely
universe there a little bit at the
worth
end.
a check out and give. I think it's worth giving it a shot.
So you mentioned the opening here. So that first shot, well, as I sit there and I was watching it, I was pretty amazed by what I was seeing there. At first, I go, well, I don't know, maybe, but yeah, the whole baby sequence. And this is from getting on from this point on, guys. We're going to talk spoiler specific. So if you haven't watched it,
Major
I want to
spoilers, so if
dip
you
and
want to get
come
the
back.
fuck out of here in the next 5 seconds.
But the opening, I love because as I said before, I think Barry, as he starts this movie, and the Flash, as he starts this movie, is kind of like I think like the lackey of the Justice League. Basically, everybody is off doing their own thing. A crisis happens. Batman is kind of leading the way and handling it with the others, and then Barry, you just go do cleanup duty over here. And the second place he gets sent is a hospital building. All they wanted him to do is go in there and shut off the gas and the electric, but the whole thing starts crumbling. And in this hospital building is a whole bunch of these babies. So there's about 20 babies, and the whole building starts collapsing, and the kids and everybody else go out the window, and the whole thing is done in that flash vision.
And a dog, and like a therapy dog.
Therapy dog, which he gets even the end credits is he comes back.
My brother was like, he didn't save the dog because he knew I would like freak the fuck out. And I was like, yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. He saved the dog, and
because at first you don't see him, you just see
all the babies are coming out of the windows and they're all floating, and he's going around them, and they got smiles, and everything is almost still very slow.
That shit where he runs
and the dog,
you got to eat really
right.
quick.
And that's an interesting new thing I think they've added. I don't think that was in any of the other films with a little counter on his suit.
He does say in the Snyderverse that he like eats a lot.
Right, but he didn't have the counter that's telling him when he's run down. So that was kind of cool. He has to eat during this whole thing to keep his fuel up so he can run the fastest. And meanwhile, all the babies are falling around him, and the nurse and everybody's falling. And of course, he saves them all. He saves them. The way he does it is very cartoon. You could almost envision seeing it on a comic book panel by panel, the way they shoot it.
I definitely could when you say it like that.
Because, it's all happening in super slow-mo. And then, of course, he does rescue everybody in that. And then from that point on, we meet, he does some flashbacks where we see him as a child and setting up the whole story with his mother getting shot.
Yeah, the big thing that sets it all off is because his dad has an upcoming court date for a possible release.
Right.
If he can prove, that he's not guilty or whatever.
Right. And so it's very similar. You see the comics or the TV show.
With this new technology to go back and find camera footage of his father in the store that should prove him not guilty. But
there's various ways of going through.
It up so they can't prove that it was him.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Barry goes into like a mental breakdown because he's like, I lost my mom and my dad the same day. And that's when it jumps right in.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Flashpoint story, and where he's got to go back, trying to save his mom, and then of course later on becomes trying to get his dad out of jail.
Fucks everything.
Meanwhile, what he does fucks up everything. He winds up in a different universe with a version of himself and a different Batman who happens to be Michael Keaton, the 1989 Batman, and who is very good in this movie. Is in
basically a version,
a lot of it,
where there's no metahumans.
Basically, there's no. Well, there's not.
There are no meta. Well, there is the Supergirl,
right?
But she's like, she's.
So they meet Batman, who's the different Batman, and Barry and his other self have to go and rescue. He's trying to rescue Superman of this world because in this world, Zod has come down and started attacking like he did in Man of Steel. There's nobody to fight him except this one Kryptonian that got locked up, who happens to be Kara, Supergirl. She crash landed to Earth. Her Superman gets killed. He gets killed as a child by Zod on the way there, so he never reached Earth
because he's not the one that actually has the key.
Right. There's a key the key that he wanted in the Man of Steel movie. He still wants in this movie. And of course, then it becomes they band together after they break Supergirl out of Russian prison.
I really liked her.
They all band together to take on Zod. Now, the Russian stuff is kind of like Red Sun, except with Supergirl and not Superman. So this is really
it's like Red Sun, but no, because I thought his Superman's son was the one that was in the Russian. Superboy was always like in the Russian prisons and shit.
Yeah, it's a variation on it, but it's kind of like that story.
Yeah.
So it's like Flashpoint and that melted together. So they bring in Supergirl. And Supergirl, I didn't think I liked her, but I really did like her. The actress
but she was going to be the new. She was going to take over as Superman, basically.
She was going to
be. They were
going
to do like a girl. They were going to do a Batgirl, a Supergirl, and someone else. It was going to be like a 3-girl swing.
And of course, Batgirl got canceled. Filmed and never released and canceled.
Right, tell me.
So
I don't think it was Wonder Woman. It was somebody else that was going to be that I think they were recasting as a girl.
yeah.
But I know it was Batgirl, and then.
But
sure.
yeah, she did a great job. I thought she was done really well.
But before we
My
get off, because we went forward a little, I want to speak on Ben Affleck as Batman before we completely forget.
right, because we're now that while we're there, Ben Affleck gets a.
He was perfected in this. I wish we got more. It's such a bummer that this is probably the last time we'll ever see him. I think they perfected his Batman voice. Like you said, when he's like driving and stuff, it feels like a straight up, like, like
the animated series, yeah.
Straight up, bro. And then when he's because now he's not as big and bulky. So when
a little smaller. Yeah.
He's a little smaller, but so he looks normal, where he looked a little fat in the face.
Yeah. Well, he still does. He's still getting pouchy. Yeah. I always thought his cowl was too square.
Well, yeah, that too.
But
I even say it's always like I don't think they fixed that either. It was a little square in this one. But when he is just Bruce Wayne, he is like the straight up comic book Batman animated Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, here is the first time I think he was.
I think he's.
This is the first time in any of the movies that he felt like a great Bruce Wayne and a great Batman.
Yeah, yeah.
All the Snyder stuff, Snyder stuff just wasn't great, and it just
all I take out of that is like the warehouse scene and then do you bleed?
And something we mentioned when we talked before, and leads it like the Snyder stuff. The fighting in this movie, Batman fighting, is the best I think I've seen it in a long time.
Which
better than the Bale one was horrible.
Better than any of them.
But even better than Justice League. It's finally done correctly.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, Batman gets some good action, and both Batmans get incredible fucking action scenes, which I'm so hyped to see.
Right.
Now I think Muschietti is going to be directing The Brave and the Bold. Which I think
this
there's
movie,
no better choice.
This movie did a lot to redeem all three people, and we're going to give a spoiler here. All three people in this movie that are depicted to be Batman, because we get I can't remember his name now. Brain damage.
Who?
Ben Affleck. I forgot Ben Affleck.
Oh.
Ben Affleck gets redeemed because he really never got a great Batman movie. I always thought he would be great in the part if given a good script. This is a better script.
Which he wanted. He wanted to like write and direct and star in his own Batman, which it's like he's done it with so many other movies, and it's like they wouldn't do it for him.
Yeah. And then Michael Keaton.
You've gone through so much. Just go ahead, do your thing. Like he would have killed it. His first movie was going to be him versus Deathstroke, which villain we've never gotten in a Batman movie. Like, dude, he was going to fucking nail it, man. And
we're getting in another movie.
They leaked photos of what his Batman suit was supposed to look like because he was working on getting it done. Dude, his suit looks so sick. Deathstroke's suit looks sick. That movie.
Ben Affleck always reminded me of the. Ben Affleck always reminds me because he was so big in the suit of the Batman Returns Batman.
That's all him, bro.
Yeah, I know.
That suit is like just like rubber. Yeah. That's all his muscles.
Yeah. So Ben Affleck does great.
That's why I watch those movies. It's for him, and like he was just fantastic.
And then Michael Keaton, I thought his two movies were good. He never came back for a third. That's mostly his fault because he didn't want to come back. Like you can't really blame, and you can't really blame him if he read the script for Batman Forever. You can't really blame him; he didn't come back. Right. But
it's funny.
But this gives him a good. This finally gives him closure that he didn't get in the movies. He goes out in two great scenes. He's great throughout. When they find him as like a hermit with his beard, still fighting.
Which we've seen this from Batman plenty of times.
Yeah. And then eventually he gets all into it, and we see the old Batman, the old Bat wing, the old Bat.
Funny thing though, this wasn't supposed to be the end for him. He was gonna go off and do like a Batman Beyond and basically train Batgirl.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be in the Batgirl, like he dressed up as Batman in the Batgirl, but that got scrapped. So that's why I think.
So it gives him a
they
good
what they
redemption,
did.
and then finally, and this is big gigantic spoiler here. So if you want to know this the end scene of this movie, after Barry Allen comes back and fixes mostly what was wrong,
And gets his dad.
he's a scene at the very end where he's talking to Bruce Wayne on the phone, and it sounds like you can't tell. It sounds like it might be Michael Keaton, but you're not sure.
You can't
So,
for sure tell.
so the car comes driving up, and everybody, including me, was expecting, as Michael Keaton bought it in the alternate timeline, to see Michael Keaton come out of that car and to get a happy ending. But they went for the laugh kind of sort of the more twist. It was not Michael Keaton, but it was I can't
George
remember.
motherfucking Clooney.
George motherfucking Clooney comes out in a goatee beard. That got a great cheer for the audience. What a redemption, because George Clooney's another guy that I thought was great as Bruce Wayne. Not bad as Batman. If he could have got a good script, I think it would have been good. You get a bad movie. And it's now he at least gets a little redemption there.
I like Val Kilmer better than him, but that's
I don't think he's
going
good.
on with Val. And I think he's too old. Where
back then,
Val Kilmer is no. I'm saying now, if Val didn't have the voice problem, Val has aged a lot more and doesn't look as good. I feel like George Clooney still looks just like he did back then. He looks literally like the same. It's crazy.
Yeah, I still think though that he never got an even shake, and he could have bbeen good if given a little bit. So I think it's nice that all three, right, yeah. I think it's nice that all three got kind of closure and redemption. All three of the Batmans.
Well, I wish that Ben Affleck would have got a little more, because I feel like he didn't get as much a closure.
No, not as much as the other two. Well,
I do like that he has that scene, the last scene with Barry, where he says I don't want, trust me, kind of like saying, I wish I could bring my parents back, but my scars of what made me who I am, where it's kind of like a Bruce that's almost being like a father figure to Barry, where he's trying to be I've made mistakes, man, and I'm old, and he's kind of he's a little wiser, which I really liked. That was a different version that I really liked. I just feel like they could have done some good shit with him, man. It's just such a bummer that so they gave him such shit, and now they I hated it. I was like, dude, wait till his movie comes out. Leave the guy alone.
Who's that?
And then now Ben Affleck, when he got announced as Batman, people went fucking apeshit and tore him up, bro. And they were so cruel to him. Well, and then all the shit with Snyder, mainly Whedon, it ruined it for him.
Well, you didn't see that. I mean, but I remember back in the day when it was announced.
Oh, I know. They did the same thing for Keaton, Mr. Mom.
Keaton was even more Mr. Mom, and they were rioting because
off for this motherfucker.
Yeah, I still think
they had the internet. They didn't have the internet.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So they really went hard.
I know they made the poor guy
and now
cry.
they all oh my god, he was so great.
They made him cry. But yeah, so after we get a nice closure for them. So the second half of the movie, once Barry gets into the once Barry gets there and screws up things, they decide to fight against Zod, who's basically doing the same exact thing he was doing Man of Steel for the same. He wants the Codex, except this time Kara's got it. When they break her out of jail, they're expecting to get Superman, the only other metahuman, to help them, and it's her. And she was a pleasant surprise in the movie. I mean, I thought she did a great job. Very believable, I think, with her action stuff. But then the movie almost shifts from being a Batman-related movie into the Superman mythos, because then when Barry decides to not undertake the mission to save his mother, but just to save his father, then you're seeing and the worlds are all crashing, colliding. Almost everybody on that world, and we'll talk about that a little bit, was Superman. There was only one instance of Batman. So you see all the worlds colliding and crashing and destroying each other. And on each world, you see a representative of the character. For Superman, you see first the original TV George Reeves 1950s black and white Superman. You see him briefly, and you hear his theme song. Look, there's a bird, there's a plane up in the sky, and then it goes to Christopher Reeve.
I think it might go to fucking Adam West Batman first.
No, I showed him later. It went to Christopher Reeve next, and it showed him and the girl playing Supergirl in the movies in the 70s. And these were just dead-on CGI, deep fake covers of these people, and they look fantastic. I mean,
yeah, but
very
the
believable.
One of them all. I think this is I think it's as big as Clooney, maybe bigger.
Well, yeah,
never got it. I think it's
right.
technically bigger. We get motherfucking Tim Burton's Nicolas Cage Superman, fucking up a dope ass like spider robot.
Yeah, we get him in his same costume he would have been in those photos.
With the long hair, everything.
Who I think, and people said that was a dumb idea, but you know what? I think that would have been cool as fuck.
Dude, I think Tim Burton that's a dumb idea. If Tim Burton fucking was going to do it, it would have been fucking awesome. Yeah. Tim Burton has rarely made a bad
movie. They didn't once again.
It's not a great movie, it's still a beautiful movie. Right. You know?
Yeah, and there's a lot of instances, especially if you go back and look at the 40s and 50s Superman, where he's always fighting like these weird mechanical creatures like spiders and stuff. So
oh really?
That was his domain.
Right.
And we briefly see in a different area, we briefly see Henry Cavill, who's still getting it up the ass from Warner Brothers, isn't represented all that much. And then we see Batman, but the Batman we see, and maybe it's because we're already seeing him, we just see the Adam West Batman. So probably that's the reason we're already seeing, Clooney. Well, we're going to see Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. That's why they're not shown when all the other Supermans were shown, I think.
Right.
And they showed the 66 Batman with the music and all that. Yeah. And that's really about it.
Crikey, Robin.
That's right. We see a little bit of Robin.
The Nick Cage cameo was way better than Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeves was just like awesome. The Nick Cage was just like fucking.
Well, yeah, the John. Yeah. I mean, it's people in my era, especially what happened with Christopher Reeves.
It was like respectable.
Yeah,
it was like,
everybody looks up to him.
See Christopher Reeves because it's like it's just.
Yeah, I said. I was reading an article today, and I sent it to Dylan from some Yahoo that was trying to say that. Him putting Christopher Reeve in that movie was disrespectful to Reeve and not showing him in a wheelchair because he was paralyzed. It was Superman being portrayed by Reeve, who was supposed to be who they were showing, and it was very respectful. And as Dylan said to me, you had to get the okay to do that by his family, so they were okay with it. So
exactly,
chill the fuck down, man.
Like, fuck out, fucking weirdo.
But yeah, that version of Nicolas Cage Superman was just a highlight in the movie, really. And, done really well. I wonder if it was all CGI, but it was done really well.
Yeah. Which I guess that's supposed to be that, like the way that they did that is for a point. Let me see. I sent it to the director made a comment about it. Let's see. It's, the film director, Andy Muschietti, says that the film's visual effects are intentional, at least from Barry's point of view. The idea, of course, is we are in the perspective of the Flash. He said everything is distorted in terms of light and textures. We enter this water world, which is basically being in Barry's point of view. It was part of the design, so if it looks a little weird to you, that was intended. So when I read that, I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. I get it more." And my brother did say it's supposed to be his point of view, and I'm like, "Huh? Okay, I get that. I kind of get that, but
at least it's them trying to do something and just show him running really fast.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to kind of visualize, interpret it, and that's how he was interpreting it. I thought those sequences were done really well.
Yeah, definitely. Which technically, we do get a Cavill scene like that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, very briefly.
But he's like when he first goes
Yeah.
into the does the thing, you see him, because obviously I'm guessing because he goes back in time in his world, so for some reason he sees him. I think it's like a scene from the Justice League, like when Superman has his shirt off, and like when they first bring him back. So, but Evan said, I haven't heard many people talk about how awesome the fight scenes were. The end battle too, and both Barrys are acting like it's a team, and our Barrys was teaching young Barry. That is fucking sick. But yeah, shit, that's why they should have had me reviewing this shit. Fucking perfect. They should have showed me an early screen, because I'd have been talking about it, because that's all I've been telling Scarpad is how fucking awesome I think Batman's fight scenes were. Without a doubt, those are definitely my favorite, just because I am a Batman fan. But I do fucking love him and Barry teaming up together, and I think those were awesome ass fight scenes. And I love when they break out of the Russian prison. And
well, you know what gets me? You were talking earlier to me about your feelings on the Nolan Batman, and how some of the fight scenes in that are really bad. They are, like, some of the fight scenes in Gotham are bad,
terribly shot. They're
the best. I was thinking the best fight scenes in that movie is when he's Bruce Wayne training with Ra's al Ghul in the beginning of the movie. Some of that stuff is phenomenal. It's like, why can't we have that when he's Batman?
That's why I thought, I was like, maybe it's something to do with his suit. I don't know. But it doesn't make sense, because there's a lot of other suits.
Well, and when he's fighting Ra's al Ghul, they pull back the camera and you can see everything. But when he's fighting as Batman, they're like right in tight with him like this.
I don't know why. It's so weird.
Yeah,
I think that was one thing that he never really got, was like the fight scenes. He was like just too worried about
I think Batman v Superman had some of that. They've never really had a really great Batman fight scene in really any of the movies.
Where
he's fighting, that one. Yeah,
that one is real. That's like the most.
Where he's fighting a bunch of goons. I mean, they've done it, but I don't know.
But yeah, that would be the most memorable. Also, when Robert Pattinson beats the fuck out of those goons off the train, that one's memorable, because he fucking literally viciously.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think Robert Pattinson wasn't in the tribute?
Because I told you he's an alternate universe.
So is Adam West.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. Why didn't he? Yeah.
This is like a solo universe. There's no Superman. And I don't know. That's just how it is. They're keeping them completely separate. And that's because Matt Reeves said. But because, dude, they're showing respect to Adam West. They're showing respect to Mr. Reeves. It's like, it's just a cameo. And technically, you couldn't say, you don't know that was Adam West. Yeah. You could have just thought that could be fucking
Adam West.
That could be like in some good in Adam West bat suit. They don't show a face, so but that's just pick and choosing, because they're leaving that. Because then why would they do that? Because then they're confusing people. Then people are going to think he's a part of the world now. They weren't going to try to do that, because they know it's going to be tough, because some people that aren't big on it are already probably going to be confused, like when The Brave and the Bold comes out. They're going to be like, Pattinson has a son now? You know what I mean? Because
we'll talk about that sometime, how I feel they can't just introduce them. I want to see a story with Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows and the Assassins, Damian Wayne becoming Batman's son. I don't want him to just be there. But we'll go into that. Anyways.
Evan said, I saw some reviews, people complain saying it was equally a Batman film. Do you disagree with you guys? I think it felt solely like a Flash film.
Yeah, somebody said they added more Keaton films.
It is a Flash film, without a doubt.
Yeah. But somebody said they filmed more Keaton scenes.
But he's not like major to the plot or anything.
Right.
It's a Flash film through and through.
It's all about
him trying to get change to the shit so he can get his mom back. It's a straight up, Flash movie, like fully.
And you can say he has grown somewhat at the end of this movie. He's not the same. He's still, they still have the quirkiness to him, but he's probably a little bit more changed at the end of this movie afterwards. But I mean, basically, so just the end of this movie is him deciding, because of all the consequences, after he defeats Zod, that he's not going to save his mother. But he does come up with a plan to save his father by, basically moving the tomatoes. Instead of taking the tomatoes and putting them in the carriage, he just moves them up to the top shelf so his father has to look up at the camera, and then they find him innocent. But the whole fight, let's talk about some of that stuff at the end with Zod, and I got kind of confused. I thought it was a little convoluted. We spoke before, you told me, like, they never really did show the Reverse Flash killing the mom or saying it was him. We don't even know, but at the end, when he comes back...
True, I didn't even think of that. You don't know who the fuck killed his mom.
It's assumed you don't know. It's not the Reverse Flash in this iteration.
In the comic, it was Reverse Flash, correct?
Right. But then...
Anybody knows for sure.
If he in the future, if he is the Reverse... If his future self...
I didn't know it was going to be him.
Yeah.
Until he screams, until Barry gets mad, the young Barry gets mad and says, like, this is inevitable.
Yeah.
Like, you can't change
I thought in the end where Barry, the other young Barry, kept on...
Like, oh, shit, it's him.
Kept on going back and forth. I thought that end was a bit convoluted. I thought it could have been clearer what was going on. And that's my only nit, I think, in the movie, is that the ending's a little convoluted with all the jumping around between various realities, and you're not sure what's going on at the end a little bit. But that, and they probably killed Zod maybe a little bit easy. I don't know. But that part is really good. We get the whole Keaton, giving himself up twice basically in this movie. Once in the battle, and then in the fight at the end. What did you think about the end? How did you like the ending compared to the rest of the movie?
The ending definitely was good. I like what they do with his dad. It definitely seemed like it ended a little sudden. Like, everything kind of gets resolved a little sudden, like with his evil self that I thought was the Reverse Flash. And I didn't even think about the mom shit, honestly, which kind of I want to know. I don't know. That's weird.
You're just assuming that some random guy.
I feel like it was a little rushed, because then, like, young Barry was like so against him, like, going and like letting his mom go, and then he basically sacrificed himself for him. But it's like, I understand why he did it, but then I'm kind of like, it was just so quick.
Right.
Like, I thought they might draw it out a little longer, and it was just like he just snapped and went. It's like, I know he did it because it was almost like the little brother standing up for him in a way. Yeah, I still did like it though. It's tough if I liked it more than Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because I see him talking about it. But it's definitely, that's my favorite DC movie since Batman.
The Flash.
Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. In the Snyderverse, in this iteration,
I like it better than
this is my favorite. Although, I guess
it just felt like a real comic book movie.
Right.
Like, so like
I would say my favorite.
You feel like you could throw this whole thing into a comic.
I would say this is my number one, followed by probably Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I love
the three best so far.
Yeah. Like in the DC universe.
In the DC universe,
I would agree. Yeah. I would agree.
Another character that was in this movie, I thought I
hope he gets a sequel, honestly, because I think they could do good with this universe.
Yeah.
Like,
let's talk about that in a second. So, the other character I think that did a good job in this movie is Jeremy Irons as Alfred, because you get to see a little bit more of him behind the scenes, helping Batman, talking to the Flash and stuff, and he does a great job. I think he's one of my favorite Alfreds, better than Michael Gold, the old Alfred. Michael Caine, I love him as an actor, but Alfred, he just kind of seemed like he didn't do much than clean. But Jeremy Irons, I think, is very believable as Alfred. I like probably him and the one that's in the new one in the Batman, the Pattinson one is who's in that one for Alfred? I forget.
Fucking Andy Serkis.
I thought he's pretty good in that one too. But
yeah, he's more the one that trains
he seems like more of an FBI guy.
He's got that look to him, and that.
But Jeremy Irons does a great job as Alfred in this too. So
yeah.
I guess we can go ahead and rate it, and then let's talk about before we rate it. So let's talk about this movie as I think Evan said in the chat. As far as how it's doing in the box office, I think a little bit of that is layover from Shazam. People not wanting to go because they thinking the whole DCEU is.
They think it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter. And then of course they saw how quick Shazam came out, and I think that's going to be for any movie now. If you do really well, even if you don't do well,
Ezra shit isn't helping.
Yeah, and then everybody that hates Disney
that's a double downer for it. Yeah. And also, Guardians 3 was the end of a trilogy, a very popular trilogy. Yeah. It sucks though, this being like the first Flash movie, but I think also a lot of people might not really know about the Flash as much. Like even unless you're a big comic book fan, like just the casual like superhero movie goer fans, I'm not really crazy about.
But I don't know. I think Michael Keaton being in this is enough to pull in these old.
That's what I would have thought. That's what I would have thought. You never know, though, man. I mean, it could pick up this weekend. It could definitely pick up this weekend.
It's all the superhero stuff is down. Whether it's Saturation,
Transformers is out. There's a lot of good stuff out right now.
There's a lot of good stuff out. My movie. When I went to see this movie, it was packed at my theater. I said, "Oh, well, that's going to be good." But really, there wasn't a lot of people in the Flash, so they were off seeing other things. They were off seeing Fast and Furious, and
some people might be like, "Oh, I'm going to wait because they think they're like, oh, well, Spider-Verse came out 2.5 weeks.
I haven't even seen that.
It's going to be like more died down, and then the Flash is going to be crazy. So they go see that, and they'll see the Flash in a couple weeks when they think it's more died down. A lot of people, they kind of want to see it. Sometimes want to just go to the theater and be like almost in there bitch by themselves.
Yeah, before we move on to like the future, let's talk about maybe your favorite scene in the movie. There's a lot of good scenes, as Evan was mentioning.
Yeah, we do get to see his origin.
That's the whole scene. Yeah, we get to see the origin. We get to see when Barry's trying to get back his powers by, reproducing that, and then Bruce Wayne, Batman has that bat kite.
Yeah.
So it's like old school Universal monsters. He's like almost like Frankenstein, laying there to get charged, and the kite's up there like in the Frankenstein movies. I thought that was great.
And as Jack says, there's probably a lot of people too that are just like sick of the superhero stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
Some people are drained by it.
Yeah. I think they allow that, and they know that like they see the movies come out like a month.
Like they're just and especially with the D+ shows they've had come out, like just people aren't happy with a lot of the stuff they put out recently.
Well, but Disney has a whole level of other hate. I think Disney could put out the best thing in the world, and like a Star Wars thing, and everybody would still hate it. But
that's true.
But
Marvel's a little different. I feel different, but I know
now. But I see it maybe going that way.
Oh yeah, I know now.
Especially after like She-Hulk and the rest of that
Star Wars route.
Oh yeah, it's very very much.
Like after the Endgame saga, that's where it started to go down slowly once it was Tony and Cap.
So I just the whole hospital scene, the beginning, the ending. We get a great redo of the hospital scene with the dog coming down. That was great.
Yeah.
And then finally the very last one scene at the very end of the movie is kind of like a comedy scene between Aquaman and Barry, which is pretty good. Jason Momoa once again steals a scene and is great in that, like he is in the Fast and Furious movies. But there's a lot of great scenes in this movie. The heartfelt with Bruce, the two heartfelt conversations, one with Ben Affleck at the end, and then one with Michael Keaton there. There's a lot of good scenes. You get a lot of nostalgic. Of course they brought back Batman. We get to see the Batcave. We get to see the Batmobile and all that stuff that goes with it. So I think there's just so much in there. Your favorite scenes, Dylan, that you say you like the beginning. Any other scenes besides that you really care for?
That I didn't care for?
No, that you do care for. Maybe your favorite scenes in the movie.
Favorite scene. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I do love, since we haven't mentioned it, so I'm going to mention it. after the opening scene and they finish their kind of like, their rescue or whatever, when Bruce pulls the guy up and then Wonder Woman makes an appearance, which another thing that made me make it think of it animated, because it's like somebody's missing and you don't think of it until they like come and save
Well,
the
she
day.
wasn't picking up her phone, he said.
And then she fucking has the lasso of truth around him, the criminal, and then Barry, and then Bruce is just like spewing all these like secrets and stuff, like kind of like giving.
Yeah, he looks down like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. And he sees it.
Especially if we never get her again, I'm like, thank God we got.
And then,
that was always just a
he's
funny,
tugging on the lasso, trying to get the lasso out.
Yeah, he's like, come on. And then, like, because I love the Aquaman.
And Ben Affleck is the Batman in this movie is a little bit. He's not as much of a he's just a plain stone face. He actually cracks some jokes with Barry, but not in a cheesy way.
He's actually, like, it kind of like, obviously we only get the three of them because we get Wonder Woman for a split second, but it feels like a real Justice League. Like when they come together, like they crack a little jokes with each other, like they feel like it didn't feel like that in Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
Like, they felt like, you know what I mean? It really felt like the anime where they're like they're there for each other, and then they can kind of crack on each other, and then they'll be like, hey, I gotta go do some other stuff, but call me when you need me. You know what I mean? Like I there was just a vibe I got. I wish Aquaman would have been able to make an appearance with that. But then even I say that too, because even at the end, when we do see Aquaman, they feel like they have like a brotherhood too. You know what I mean? Where they're hanging out and they're like kind of drinking together. Like I feel like they've come together. And I think that now that they've acted with each other for a while, that it's kind of like they're probably all friends in real life. So it's kind of just coming on to the to the film, and I thought that I really enjoyed that. But my other favorite, like my real favorite scene, would probably be I'm trying to think of a specific Ben Affleck fight scene maybe, but I think I'm gonna go with a Michael Keaton fight scene when they break into the Russian prison, and then he flies down and then kind of beats the shit out of all them guys.
I like all his little gadgets he kept on pulling out of his costume there too.
And then, like when they jump out of the airplane, he's like, "Where's your parachute?" He's just like, "Bitch, please, I don't need no parachute."
Yeah, I love the bat plane too. They get the rotating thing that drops them headlong down.
It was just like, I love that they kept the suit like basically the same, except like a more upgraded version. I always loved that yellow chest plate.
And he's got the blue cape too. He's got the blue cape. They usually has a black cape. It was blue in this movie.
Keaton, not Keaton.
No, Affleck.
Yeah, that I fucking loved.
Finally gave him the bright color cape.
The gray and blue suit.
Right.
They finally did it, and everybody act like, no, you can't pull that off. It won't look good, because in the comics it looks good.
Yeah.
And I was like, that looks so fucking good.
They usually go with all black
with the gray. That look, because his mask was dark blue too. It's very dark blue. Dude, that suit was so good. And then close up, if you look, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it looks like a more comfy suit that they've made for him, where he's got like chest plates, but he's got kind of like kind of like a version of spandex in a way. Like it's tight, so you still see his muscles.
Well, you can tell a big difference between him and the Keaton Batman suit is like almost like armored. You see those scenes in the Russian thing where they're shooting at him, and the bullets are like bouncing off him and dropping on the floor. Yep. So,
and then in the back of his cape too when he does that. I love that. And then but Ben Affleck's suit was pretty good too, because when he's getting pulled by that car, he's getting pulled on the scraping the ground, and he was, they did some good shit with the Batmans, man. I thought they really handled both of them so well, but different, but perfect for each one. Like each one was unique, where it didn't just feel like the same. Where you're like,
this honestly was a better Justice League movie than the Justice League movie was.
Yeah, I would agree.
And they just had a little bit more screen time.
I would agree. The only one I think we didn't get, I don't know if they show him in the Flashpoint like CGI stuff, but we didn't get Cyborg, I believe.
He was mentioned.
They mention it, but
they
they
mentioned
don't
him.
show
Yeah,
it. Like they
show
didn't
him,
show a CGI version or anything.
Yeah, Cyborg got left out. But so let's talk about a little bit like that. So now, we talk about how people might not want to go see the movie because they think like Shazam, it doesn't count and whatnot. This is really the first time I've never said that. I'm talking about this afternoon. I've never said the problem of the DCU is any of the actors or the portrayal of the characters. I always thought they nailed. Everybody nails their characters pretty well. I think they're suited for the parts. I was always of them. And I'm not. James Gunn says complete reboot with a few exceptions. But I never thought they really needed to go that route. I think they had I think the framework was laid great with the characters. Just get better directors, and they did this time with the guy from Indy, whatever his last name is. I can't pronounce his name there. And they did that with a better story. You don't need to scrap an entire universe. Just get better stories, get better directions. And I'm going to be sad if this is the last time that we see some of these characters because they're going to recast. It's kind of like saying, we failed with the story, but we're not going to fail with the story this time, but we got to give you all new characters because we can't just, and that's too bad. I don't think they need to do that. Do you think you would like to see them go on with these characters a little bit more and then just give them separate movies and maybe they could drop them into a few movies here and there?
I like Gal as Wonder Woman. I would have to see who they would switch her for because I like her. I think the only reason the second movie was a flop is because of the director and the direction she wanted to take it in.
Right.
She wanted to do this weird shit. She has always been a good Wonder Woman. I think I wish Ben Affleck would stay. I know
Momoa has been a great Aquaman.
Momoa, I think it's great, but then after seeing Fast X, I want Momoa, and I'm so hyped for Aquaman too, and I think it's gonna be dope.
As you said, I don't think there's any reason why he can't be Lobo and Aquaman. Lobo is under a ton of makeup.
After seeing Fast X, I think he is a fucking incredible villain. He gave me major Joker vibes in Fast 10. And to see him be Lobo would be incredible. And that's like, he's a space outlaw. So honestly, he could do both. And he's going to be under a lot of makeup. So I think you could pull them both off. But I don't know if they'd be willing to do it because maybe they think people aren't smart enough to separate them or something. I don't know, man.
Well, I think from a studio level, they probably figure this. If they wash the slate, if people aren't coming to see superhero movies now where it's in decline, if you wipe the slate clean, they're probably going to come back and see the next one. So,
well, that's why I don't want them to wipe it completely clean because I want Peacemaker. I
think Peacemaker's untouchable because he's on TV.
Yeah, Evan's right that they had already written a Flash 2. It was just they have a script ready for Flash 2, and I remember seeing what it was about, but I can't remember off the top of my head. It was kind of like a Flashpoint too, though, definitely, because originally it was going to be called Flashpoint. I remember.
Yeah, I think how this movie does is going to be whether we see Ezra Miller again or not. I think if it does really gangbusters, we'll probably see him again. Yeah. Whatever you think of that.
Well, one thing we know is we're not going to have the same Batman. So if we keep the same Aquaman and Wonder Woman, we're getting a new Batman. Which kind of sucks.
And a new Superman.
Oh yeah, and a new Superman. I'm sorry.
And and that's the thing. Are you going to have?
I didn't think of him because we didn't get him really in this movie at all.
Yeah.
We just get Supergirl.
Yeah. So maybe they should bring back Nicolas Cage. It's too bad they have to de-age him.
Right. I know.
Yeah. To me, if it's the last time you see a lot of the characters, I will be sad. But at least they went out on a high note, which I think is good. Once again, I'm going to say I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think the ending to me isn't perfect, but I think it's a fun, well-paced, decent movie with great characters. Ezra Miller, I finally like in this movie. I think he does pretty well with what he's given and playing both parts. I think it's a superior DC movie. So 4.5 for me. I
I'd
think give it a
agree.
5.
I'd agree, and I think I'm gonna go 4.5 as well. It could go higher, but right now I'm at a 4.5 because wouldn't say it's perfect because then after thinking about the stuff with the mom and we
Yeah,
never
the
got
ending and stuff
that,
like that's a little
maybe
convoluted.
because they plan to maybe go into that more in Flash 2. We'll
Well,
see.
and who's to say? Because
If they do
this
that, then
movie,
maybe I could go up to like a 4.75. But
this movie did have a lot of reshoots, so it's hard to say
it's
what
true.
was there and what's
I
new.
mean, this movie was made like the last
Yeah,
3 years in a way. Like it got announced like 3 years ago.
they've been
Maybe
tinkering with
long.
stuff, right? So it would have came out before Shazam, and it would have came
I
out
think give it a
before,
4.75.
yeah. And I think it would have done better if it came out before Shazam. But what can you do?
The only thing stopping me from a 4.75 is not getting the resolution with the mother. But I love his heartfelt scenes with him and his mom.
Right.
I almost so bad want to give it a 4.75. But right now I'm at a 4.5. I could bump to a 4.75 after rewatching it.
Yeah, I think the ending
It's
for me.
I like to rewatch stuff, man. And
Yeah,
after watching it once, it's hard because then I just sit there like thinking about it. But I'm like, I want to see it again.
yeah.
Like I like to break stuff down and shit. I know.
I just think the ending is a little bit too convoluted for me. To give it a 5, but I think it's right up there, 4.5.
Yeah.
So I think people if they haven't, if they,
Solid as fuck.
yeah, it's a solid movie.
It's
A
very
fun movie.
straightforward. It's not like confusing on what's going on. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the only thing is, as I said, the ending I thought was a
Yeah,
little
I think
convoluted.
I
But there's
completely
so many
agree.
good.
I
There's so
completely agree, Billy. I completely.
this is a big summer. I mean, people with Fast X and all the other movies out, and now we're gonna have Raiders in another week or so. I mean, there's just gonna be so much out there for the money, and I skipped a lot of the movies I want to see. I'm waiting for them to come on video. I just started
Yeah,
seeing the ones I
that's
want.
what I'm saying, and that's why I'm wondering like if the Flash isn't doing as good now because some people just don't have the money, and they're like, you know what? I decided to take my kid to see the Spider-Man movie, so
Right.
that's what we picked that over the Flash because I could see that, and that's another thing they should have maybe, as much as I wanted to see this, they should have came out this first. They should have came out this first. DC has a reputation of always putting their movies out after Marvel, and they just don't. I know that's a Sony Marvel, but that's a big one. That's the biggest Sony Marvel movie that Sony has. And if it was Venom, like, yeah, I'd say Flash would be the winner. But because because you got a bigger audience, because you can get all the kids, and maybe there's some parents that think, well, Batman's a little dark. I don't know if I want to let my kid go see that. There's people like that. So I hope it goes up, but if it don't go up, then we'll see it on Max in 3 weeks.
I think either way, it goes up and down. We see it on Max in a few weeks.
Well, I'd
Hell,
say
look out.
we'll see it on Max in 4 weeks. If it does bad, we'll see it on Max in 3 weeks.
Or like Fast X, we'll see it on sale like the week after it comes out.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the Steelbook pre-order.
Yeah, but
They already announced, like we said, we saw the Rise of the Beast 4K Steelbook that just got announced already.
yeah, I mean, and what you pay for the Steelbook ends up to be like what you'd pay for, yourself and maybe a popcorn and a soda.
That's another thing
And
too. That's another thing me and you always got to think about because we buy these movies. Like where a lot of people they just stream them. Where it's like we buy a lot of these movies. So I'm like, some movies are worth going to see it in the theater and then buying it as well. But
this movie today, both me and you are on Movie Pass, so we always have credits built up. So I had like 2 credits.
Right.
So I went in. It didn't cost me anything that I hadn't paid for the $9 a month. The first showing of Flash yesterday, 3:00 in the afternoon, in an XD theater, which is the best theater they have, was $17.75. It keeps on going up, and even if you don't go in the good theater, you go in the standard theater, $3 less, which I think is bullshit. They never used to do that. So $14, and then it's $12 for a popcorn soda. So I say $30 to get in there to watch one fucking movie.
Yep.
And if you have kids or friends, or that's fucking $120, no one's going to do that now in this economy. So they know now. Just wait for it. It's going to be on Disney Plus. Just fucking wait for it. I can wait for it. Unless this is the best fucking movie in the world, I'm waiting for it, But that's just the way it is now.
Definitely.
But I liked it. It's like you. I want to see it again because, the first time you kind of don't get everything. The second time you tend to notice a lot more. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to watch it at home.
Yeah, it'd be fun, especially when you get on a big TV, where you can see it and sit down.
Yeah. This is a straight. I haven't been buying a lot of the Marvel and DC movies like on physical because they end up being on HBO Max, and I just the last one I bought was Black Adam. I do want that Shazam 2 Steelbook really bad on 4K, but I only got Black Adam on 4K because
I'm missing
I got it for like $10.
Yeah, I'm missing a ton of Marvel stuff. I never bought it when it first came out. Now I'm getting
after Endgame. I'm missing Endgame on 4K because remember I asked you to find that. I want it though with the.
I just bought Shang-Chi with a slipcover for $11.
Yeah, the only one I got is the Spider-Man Far From Home.
But right now I have none of the Iron Man movies. I don't have any of the Iron Man movies. That's why I have to get those next. Yeah, because there's a triple pack out there somewhere. But
yeah.
At this point, I just wait and see if they come out with something.
Iron Man movies with my girl the other day. We just watched all 3 of them.
Yeah, they came out with for a while. They came out with those Marvel. They didn't buy the Waves, the Phase box sets.
Yeah, those are
cool.
Expensive. I never got any, but they looked cool.
But I'm slowly trying to get them, and I'm trying to get them with the slip if I can. But if you can't, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
So I've been picking them up as we go.
Right.
But I think I'll be picking up this one. I can't wait to see what they do with a good
Steelbook on this one. I hope they do a cool Steelbook or something for this. This is a 4K buy all day.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see. I wish they maybe do some good behind the scenes on this too. I think that'd be cool, especially with Michael Keaton and stuff, and George Clooney.
And the George Clooney Meister. I want to thank all you guys for stopping by today. Everybody in the chat, Billy Palmax, Evan, thanks for coming by. Two Gun, we had Blood Splash Chatter, trying to say that 15 times fast. Missing Link was in there, Jack's Law's in there. Everybody that came out, thanks for coming and watching the unboxing and movie reviews. And maybe we'll jump on here in a couple of weeks. We'll do one with Dial of Destiny. That's the initial reviews right now are kind of they're going to be mixed, but we'll see.
Yeah, that might be fun.
I think I like Indiana Jones, so for me it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I love Indiana Jones.
So maybe a couple of weeks, but then coming up tomorrow night, Fly 1
p.m. Eastern
for Fable and his birthday. Fly 1, Fly 2.
Go give Fable a shout out for his birthday, y'all.
Give him a shout out there, and tomorrow night at 7:30.
Celebrating Fable's birthday while reviewing his pick, The Fly 1 and 2.
Fly 1 and 2. Good stuff. I started watching The Fly.
Yeah. It definitely is going to be a fun one.
And then Monday night, I come back finally after a long layoff. I didn't get laid, unfortunately. And we're going to have a comedy because we're going to do all sorts of movies on the Monday night show, starting off with Apple Pie, American Pie. First,
I love American Pie.
Nice warm piece of
I love American Wedding. Oh my god,
I like all of them. They're all pretty good.
I like all of them.
Get some Stifler, Stifler's mom. Get to talk about Stifler's mom.
Right, doggy. And American Wedding, he's like fucking that. He's trying to be super cool around this chick and not act like a douche. And he finally gives his cover, blows his cover.
About Monday Night, but I've always thought I've loved Eugene Levy in those movies because
he's in every single one, all the spin-offs. And
because he always walks in. He's always like the cool dad. He's never an asshole or like you would see in those type of movies. He wants to do the best of the guy, and he starts So I love Eugene Levy in those movies. Well, the dad can walk in and find you with a pie around your dick and say, it's okay, son.
Right.
but,
Crazy.
but we'll talk about that Monday night. So thanks, Dylan, for stopping by. Had a good time. This is streaming on Dylan's show. So anybody that wants to watch this, that didn't get a chance to watch it, go watch on Dylan's channel too. It'll be there and here. Like a lot of stuff we do on Monday nights. And otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night for The Fly.
Hell yeah.
And we'll catch you guys later. Everybody have a good evening, everybody. Later.